Lynn.
I was having lunch with a couple of my neighbors earlier this week, and they were asking if there was something that the town could do about all of the vacancies to make it, because there are certain landlords that are not keeping up their properties or are demanding ridiculous rents, and their places are empty and they're not generating sales tax. And my friends were asking if there was any way that the town could impose disincentives to landlords who don't keep their places fixed up or who charge unreasonable rents, because not collecting the sales tax affects everybody.
Fundamentally, this is a question of private property. Arizona protects private property. Commercial property is private property. We can't go in to somebody who owns private property and say, you're not doing the right thing with it, we want you to do this. That protects you from the government coming in and saying, you need to dust your furniture 2 times a week because it's pretty dusty when we come in here. Similarly, we can't go into a landlord and say, your business strategy is to say, in 2008, 2006, I could get $25 a square foot for this property. You're never going to get that. You need to change your business strategy from waiting for somebody to come in and meet your price. You have to lower the rent. We have landlords in Carefree who have recognized the current business situation. They've lowered their rents, and they're pretty well full. I've talked to other landlords, and they basically told me, I used to get $25, $26 a square foot, and I'm not going to rent that out until I can get that. The property sits empty. You've also talked about subjective things, about how well buildings are maintained. Some of our landlords are very good. They maintain things very well. There's other landlords who don't. You might walk outside this building, look around, and you can see some very well maintained buildings and some that aren't maintained. Unless it's an issue of health and safety, we have a very hard time going to someone and saying you need to paint your building. You can't tell someone you have junk stored inside your windows. Put paper over there, cover the windows, move the junk out. It's inside the building. We'd like to do more, and we are working with the landlord. Through the good efforts of Councilmember Price, a number of people in council have met with just about every landlord in Carefree. We've talked to them. We understand what they're trying to do. Fundamentally, we've met with the landlords. Some of them say, this is what I'm going to do. Other ones say this. You do the best you can to encourage people to get better. The overall strategy is what Gary Neese talked about. Maybe I should let him talk about it. Improving the town center, trying to get better landlords and better business coming to town. I'm talking too much. Gary?
No, I think you're heading in the right direction there. You know, what we control is the public realm. That's what we invest in. Certainly we have some limited abilities to give incentives so that the market can reinvest in itself. But what we have been focused on is strategic investments. And in saying strategic investments, it's looking at the best practices of similar outdoor malls. If you can envision the town center as an outdoor mall, we don't have that major anchor outside of Bash's and Ace. So how can we collectively create a critical mass that people come to on a daily basis, on an annual basis, whether it's the heat of the summer or the cool weather we experience now. Regardless of time, regardless of night or day, you need to bring people here. So in exploring the opportunities of what other outdoor centers have done, they historically just built shopping malls. They didn't build infrastructure, they didn't build shade trellises, they built buildings. And the internet has changed things. They understood, in order to be relevant and to attract people there, that they would have to make strategic investments and create amphitheater, create shade, create comfort, create an environment where kids will come and play and families will patronize, so that you create a critical mass throughout the year, that synergy that you need for people to be present, and people attract people. So in going around, many council members individually have talked to different developers who've been very successful in the marketplace and discussed what are the best practices. And collectively as a council, we have shared in visioning sessions and workshop sessions about some of those best practices. One of those, you'll see the evolution of the amphitheater in the next several months. We worked with a corporate sponsor to put shade over that amphitheater. Now that diversifies that environment so that we can have events through the shoulder season, the warmer months. We could possibly have some concerts there, maybe a movie night and other things so that people can enjoy that environment in the shade. We're going to provide a sound system and lighting system so that perhaps we can continue with concert series and maybe some 501c3s can utilize that space more frequently for their respective events and fundraisers. People attract people. Once they start going there, they keep on coming back. So that's one type of approach that we're looking at, is investing in the public realm so that we can diversify our investment. People are coming here, and then the entrepreneurs start seeing this as a place that is more viable. In today's high-risk environment, you need people first. Elliot Pollock, a nationally renowned economist, is here locally. The first thing he said is people come first. You want the private market, you have to seed it with the people. And that's what we're strategically doing with our investments in the town center. And hopefully that will spin off to reinvestment and new acquisitions from other outside parties in some of these older buildings. And sometimes things have to get a little bit worse to get better.
Harry, is that investment done under an economic development umbrella of some sort that has stated goals and things?
Yes, we have and thank you for asking that question. We have a economic strategic plan. It's online on our website, and you can read that. It goes A to Z through our respective
Strategic
plans.
investment in public funds, then it's under that umbrella of economic development?
Yes.
I'd also mention that in early December, we expect to have the Urban Land Institute conduct what they call a technical assistance panel in here. And it's basically they get recognized developers, 6 or 8 people who volunteer their time to come up here, listen to our concerns, and then give us their advice. It costs us $5,000. Mike Farrar suggested we do this. It's an excellent idea. Number one, it's going to probably, I think it's going to confirm that what we're doing works. If it says it isn't, we'll adjust it. But it also gives us exposure to the people who make the investments. They're going to come up here, and they've already come up in a preliminary thing, walked around town, and I was on that walk, and they were saying, you have a lot of good stuff in Carefree. They were walking through the gardens, they're looking at our walking area. That's good news. So we are getting some expert advice on how to do this. That'll be open to the public. I don't think the public will participate, but that'll occur early December. We'll announce that date. Recently, Owens Harkey prepared a mailer that went to everybody within a 5-mile radius of Carefree. It did not go to Carefree residents. I lost that battle. I thought it should, but I was outvoted. The mailer was a card like this, and on the back we went to our merchants and said, if you'd like to participate, we're going to put coupons on the back, and you can put a coupon on there. I was very disappointed in our merchants' response. We went to the restaurants first, and we got things from, I don't advertise, period. I don't advertise from the restaurant. We heard another one say, I don't do this type of advertising, I only do wholesale advertising, whatever that is. We got one restaurant to put a coupon at the bottom, and that was Bricks. We went next to some of the merchants, and some of our merchants do have coupons on that mailer. So we've done a mailer to everybody 5 miles radius of Carefree. We are doing effective, but fundamentally the town is following the advice of Elliot Pollock. Get people up here, the people will attract businesses. I hope to hear something from this TAP, Technical Assistance Program, from the Urban Land Institute that will give us direction. So fundamentally, we are addressing those issues and looking at it. We've considered your suggestions, and right now we think there's other things to do. Let's see what the Urban Land Institute does.
You're hiring an economic development director, if you will. That's what I mean. That's one solution in a big enough city that might work. But what you're doing now with ULI is perfect. You know, let's see what they come up with. There's not a better organization in the country that put a stamp on who we are as a town. And the fact that some real estate's not going to work. El Padre Gal's going to be sitting there empty for a long time. Wrong product, the wrong place. But Elliot's right. People, people, people. The more festivals you put on, the more people you get in town, the more people get interested in opening a shop. Pretty simple.
The Ed Lewis project. About 8 months ago, Ed Lewis came to the town of Carefree and said, I'm taking my project out of the freezer. Gary Neese's first response, great, are you putting it in the microwave, going to nuke it, and we're going to have it. Not that fast, Gary. Ed Lewis, I have been in a series of meetings with Ed Lewis. When he came to the town, he basically said, you cannot talk about this in public. I'm doing some things that I don't want you to talk about. So I didn't. Several weeks ago, I asked Ed Lewis, hey, you're talking to people, can I talk to people? He said, yes, you can. What the town and I have tried to do is give Ed Lewis an opportunity to be successful. He wants to build his project here. He thinks he needs to find an anchor to anchor that project, and he is working to find an anchor. You'll probably hear about this because he's starting to talk to some of our merchants, talking to people in the community. We're trying to give him an opportunity to be successful. We've made no commitments to Ed. He's said this, that, and the other thing. It's one of these nebulous dances is the best term I heard. We don't know exactly what he's going to bring to the town, but he is starting to look at bringing his project in. For example, one of the things he said, maybe the Phoenix Art Museum would be an appropriate anchor for my project. He's working on various things. Ed Lewis' project is back on the table. It's in play. We're waiting for Ed Lewis to come to us with a plan that we can react to. So the Ed Lewis project, that's what's going on.
When was the Ed Lewis project? Is?
There's a large vacant plot of land back here behind this building, contiguous to this building, and there's another large plot of land across Easy Street where the Artist Park for the Artist Festival, when you drive up Carefree Drive. Those two things were brought to the town in 2006 as the Ed Lewis project. Underground parking, first floor retail, 2 levels of condos. He was going to build underground parking, first floor retail, 2 levels of condos, second and third level. Thank goodness he stopped that project just when the economy went south. We don't have a deep hole there, we don't have structural steel. He just stopped the project. He's taking those plans, revising them, looking at them. Basically would finish what Gary Neese calls the largest unfinished development project and the oldest unfinished development project in Arizona. The town was developed 60 years ago. That third of the town center is undeveloped. That's the Ed Lewis project.